Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Good? Bad? Did you watch the recording you're supposed to watch yesterday? You did? Right. That means you know how to solve system of equations. So I'm going to go over two questions to refresh your memory, and then we are going to do solving real life application. Any question from anyone before we start? Any comments, concern, complaint? Nothing. Okay. What I was thinking? I forgot. I wanted to ask you something, but I forgot about that. But anyway, so when we solve rational equation, we have many ways of doing it. Yesterday, with my afternoon class, I was trying to show many different methods, and it went crazy. So I decided to stick with one method only, and then whatever you like, you can follow your method. But I'm going to show you one method. So what I like is bring everything to one side and add and subtract just like we did in previous sections. How do you add and subtract rational? We're going to do the same thing here. And then at the end, we're going to solve. Okay. That means we want this 72 over x squared from the right side to the left side. So we subtract that from both sides of the equal sign. Because anytime it says solve, oh sorry, I don't have the direction. The direction is solve for x. Anytime you solve something, we want to see 0. That makes our life easier most of the time, especially if our degree of the polynomial is more than 1. Like if it's only x, then you don't have to bring everything to one side. But if it's more than 1, like x squared, x cubed, x to the 4, anything, then bring everything to one side. That will make life easier. So we end up getting 1 over x plus 1 minus 72 over x squared, whole thing equals 0. And then we are going to do LCD. Do you remember how to find LCD? So we have denominator x and x squared. What's the LCD between x and x squared? Good, you remember that. So we are going to combine everything. So we need everything to have the same denominator. What's wrong with the first denominator? Do we have x squared? What can we do to have the x squared? Do you add, subtract, multiply, divide? What? By? We want x, so the result becomes x squared. So multiply by x. Because I'm going to add and subtract first. Okay, I'm not going to solve. I'm going to add and subtract. And then you're going to solve. Now 1 doesn't even have any denominator. So what do we want on the denominator of 1? X squared. So we multiply numerator and denominator by x squared. The third denominator, does it have a problem? No, because it already has x squared. So you're happy. Once you have all the denominators same, we are allowed to combine all the numerators. So what do we have on the numerators? The first numerator is x. Second numerator is x squared. And the third numerator is 72. Well, we wrote the numerators correct, but they're not in order, right? So before you do anything, let's order them. minus 72 over x squared. And before even getting rid of the denominator, let's factor the numerator. So complete the left side and then do whatever we want to do at the end. Can we factor the numerator? Which two numbers? 9 and 8, yeah. And how about the sign? Positive 9, negative 8. Can you cancel anything from the numerator and denominator? That means now we can get rid of the denominator. If we don't want the denominator, what can we do to make it disappear? We multiply both sides by the denominator. The numerator, denominator, cancel the denominator, numerator. Cancel with the denominator. So we have no more denominator. We have x plus 9 and x minus 8. And what is 0 times x squared? 0. And now it became a simple factor solving like we did before. We set each of them to be 0 because their product only can be 0 if the first one is 0 or the second one is 0. Either one of them must be 0. So we subtract 9, add 8. That gives us x is negative 9 and x is positive 8. Any question? We should also see what we cannot have in the solution. From here, cannot have in the solution. None of the denominator can be 0. So either you can set each denominator not to be 0, or you can simply take the LCD and say, well, since LCD has all the denominators, so that LCD, we don't want that to be 0. So x squared, we want that to be 0. That means we don't want x to be 0 if we take the square root of both sides. So definitely we don't want x to be 0, and the solution we got is negative 9 and positive 8. What does that mean? It means when we have x 0, everything becomes invalid. And when we have x equals 8 or x equals negative 9, both sides of the equal sign are same. And this is a final exam question. You'll have one of these in the final, definitely. Any question? Again, there are many other ways of doing it. If you prefer your method, as long as it's correct, I don't care. But if you bring everything to one side, simplify, then your life will be much easier. You don't have to worry about what we cannot have in the denominator at the end. So this question already has everything. All life is easy. We go for LCD directly. What's the LCD between x and x squared? X squared. So we want all the denominators to x squared. So what we want below 5? We already have 1, but we don't want 1, right? What do we want to have below 5? X squared. So multiply top and bottom by x squared. How can we make the second x, x in the second denominator into x squared? Multiply by x. Do we have any problem with the third denominator? No, so leave it alone. That means we are ready to combine the numerators. 5x squared plus 2x minus 3. Also, let's see what we don't want in our solution. We don't want x squared to be 0 because that has all the denominators. Take the square root. That tells us we don't want x to be 0. So for rational, we look for two things. What is the solution and what we definitely don't want for our x. Now what do we do? Good job. AC method. So we have 5 times negative 3 gives us negative 15. Two numbers multiplied to negative 15 combined to positive 2. 5 and positive 5, negative 3. Perfect. And let me do the shortcut. Once we have 5 and 3, we write plus 5 minus 3, and we write 5x on both. But one of them is factorable. Which one is factorable? This one, right? So we take 5 as a common factor, and we get x plus 1, but then ignore that 5. And we have 5x minus 3. So x plus 1, 5x minus 3 over x squared. If you don't like shortcut, feel free to use that details method. Can you cancel anything from the numerator and denominator? No. That means we don't want the denominator. How do you get here the denominator? Multiply. Because x squared is already on the denominator. We want x squared on the numerator. Because only then we can cancel. If one is in the numerator, one is in the denominator, then it's cancelable. So we get x plus 1 equals 0. 5x minus 3 equals 0. Or never mind, let me write the remaining factors after the cancellation. So x plus 1, 0, 5x minus 3, 0. Subtract 1, add 3, add 3. So x is negative 1. And we have 5x is 3 divided by 5. Let me erase everything. I don't have space. Let me just write down the answer. It's 3 over 5. That's two solutions. We have it negative 1 and 3/5. And what we don't want as a solution is 0. Or what we cannot plug in for x is 0. Any question? Eliza? Because they both had GCF 5. So you factor out 5 and then ignore. Okay. Now you're going to do one example with different denominators, not x or x squared. What do you think our first step is, Mustafa? This is factorable. So let's factor this first. Anytime your denominator is factorable, always factor the denominator first. We don't care about factoring the numerator, but we do care about factoring the denominator. So this is perfect squares. So it's x plus 6, x minus 6. So we did factoring. Let me write the step here. Steps. Factor the denominator. What do you think our second step is? I don't want to get rid of the denominator. If I want to do the same thing as what we did in the last two example, what do you think would be our second step? Before even going for LCD, we did something. What did we do? We didn't multiply. There's something I said you should do. If you want to be consistent with section 7.1 and 2. Yes, all the steps you're telling me, it's doable, but I don't want that. I want to do what next? The two examples you did, what do you notice? Remember the direction says, what happens? The direction says solve, right? Solve for x. We want to see 0. So what do you have to do? Subtract. Either you can subtract the left from the right or right from the left. Since our left is only one term, let me subtract the left because it's one term only. So x over x plus 6 minus x over x plus 6. Bring everything to one side. Oh, the equal sign. So now we have 0 on one side and we have 72 over x plus 6, x minus 6, plus the 4. And now we just subtracted x over x plus 6. Now you're happy because everything is on the one side. So what is our next step? What do you look for? LCD. So what's the LCD between this denominator and this denominator? Definitely x plus 6. Anything else? Also, yep. So LCD is x plus 6, x minus 6. Both of them. So we want x plus 6, x minus 6 under every denominator. First denominator already has it. We are happy. But what goes under 4? We already have 1, but we don't want 1. What do we want? X plus 6, x minus 6. So multiply by x plus 6, x minus 6. Let me write this a little bit lower. Oh. X plus 6, x minus 6. Now, what we don't have on the third denominator? We already have x plus 6. What we don't have? X minus 6. So multiply numerator and denominator by x minus 6. So we have 72 plus 4 times x plus 6, x minus 6, minus x times x minus 6. Right? So let's simplify the numerator. 72 plus 4. When you multiply x plus 6, x minus 6, bless you, what do we get? See, when you multiply x plus 6, x minus 6, what is supposed to have? X squared minus 36. Yes, you can use FOIL, no problem. But why do you want to waste your time when you already know what the result is, what the product is? And then we have negative x squared minus 6x inside the parentheses. Right. That's why I have my parentheses. So here we are going to distribute the negative, it will turn into positive. Here we are going to distribute the 4. So we have 0 equals 72, 4x squared, 6 times 4 is 24. We get 2 as an addition, 12, 13, 14. We have 144 minus x squared plus 6x over x plus 6, x minus 6. Do we have any like terms here? 4x squared minus 1x squared, 3x squared. And you have only one x term, right? A single 6x. And then we have 144 negative, 72 positive. So basically we are subtracting. We get negative 72. Over x plus 6, x minus 6. Any questions so far? I'm using this method again because in addition and subtraction, that's how we add and subtract. We need LCD, we need to combine the numerators. So if you do addition subtraction here and then you go for solving, you will not make any mistake or you'll not forget what steps you have to take after one step. What do you observe on the numerator? What do you observe? What do you observe about the coefficients? Come on, guys, you do see something, right? What do you see? What are the coefficients? Daniel. And then? So, Exactly. So we have a GCF on the numerator. What is our GCF? Obviously the smallest one. So if we factor out your GCF 3 and you get from 3x squared, what do you have? From 6x, what do you have? 2x. And do you know what is 72 divided by 3? 21? 24. 3 goes to 7 twice, so you get 6. You subtract, we get 12. So 3 times 4 is 12. We have 24 here over the denominator, plus 6 minus 6. And then what? We can factor the numerator. So what two numbers multiply to positive negative 4 combine to positive 2? Negative 4. And on the denominator we have x plus 6, x minus 6. What do you observe? They can cancel. See, that's why I didn't get you the denominator, because yes, sometimes we can cancel the numerator, the denominator, just like we did in addition and subtraction. If you cancel, then you're solving your problem. We always have some problem in the denominator. We don't want the denominator to be some specific numbers. For the last two examples, we didn't want the denominator to be 0. In this example, we don't want our denominator to be 6 or negative 6. So when you cancel the 6, you're getting rid of your problem. You don't have to say, oh, so our equation is negative 6, one of the equation, which is wrong. So we have 3x minus 4 and x minus 6. Once you are done canceling, or you cannot cancel, then we don't want the denominator anymore. So you get here the denominator. How do you get here the denominator? We want to cancel the denominator. So how can you cancel anything? Multiply the numerator by the denominator on both sides of the equal sign. They cancel out. Our problem is solved. So we have 0 equals 3x minus 4. We don't want the 3 because it's not helpful. So divide both sides by 3. And we get x minus 4 is 0. That gives us, what is our answer? 4. If you add or subtract fast, if you simplify fast, you get only one solution. But if you get rid of your denominator first and then solve, you get two solutions. One of them is valid, one of them is invalid. And then in the multiple choice, if you don't know which one is the correct one, you pick the one which has both answers. And then you get the whole thing 0. That's why don't get you the denominator until the very end. First, simplify your expression. Combine them, simplify them, and then get you the denominator. It will make your life maybe a little bit miserable, but still at the end you get the correct solution. So LCD, since our LCD was both of them x plus 6, x minus 6, we don't want any of the LCD to be 0. So x plus 6, we don't want it to be 0. X minus 6, we don't want it to be 0. So if we have x equals negative 6 as a solution, it cannot have it. Or if you have x equals positive 6 in the solution, you cannot have them. So these are the two things you don't want as your solution, and this is the thing you got as your solution. Clear? So if you don't use this method, no problem. Make sure at the end you have this. So when you get to solution, you see which one you cannot accept, and then disregard that solution. Question? So this is what you're supposed to learn from yesterday's video. I did a little review. Now we are going to the real life application. Any question from anyone before we move on? Okay, then this is what we have. Ignore the date. When we take the attendance, while you write the information down, it is 28. Oh man, I forgot to change. Tanisha, Eliza, here. Fabricio, here. Sergio, here. Miley, here. Oliver, absent. Himadri here. Mustafa here. Jacqueline, here. Jiain, here. Anaya, here. Jason, here. Atsiri, here. Anthony, no more. Joseph, absent. Sitlali, here. Seida, here. Did you guys talk to your advisor about whether staying in this class or dropping? If you see your grades are not that great and you can drop, I would suggest to drop and retake it. But if you cannot drop because of your 12 credit issue, make sure you study very well for the next three exams actually. 2 in class and 1 final. And also do all the homework with 100% on Blackboard, sorry, My Math Lab, and try your very best on the quizzes. You want to have as high score as possible on those 2 cases. Okay, homework and quizzes. If your in-class exam scores are not that great, Mohammed, no. Ronaldo here, Danielle here, Jeremiah here, Camila here, Philia here, and Justin here. 1, 2, 3, 4 absents. Okay. So what problem in this section would be easy if you can remember one formula? If you cannot remember, that means you have to use logic to figure out to solve the equation. But if you can remember this, in the final exam, they'll ask you this type of question. So if you can remember this, you're safe for the final exam. It says, Al can paint a room in 9 hours. Bob can paint the same room in 12 hours. So Bob is kind of lazy. How long it will take if you let them to work together? So one take 9 hours, another take 12 hours. And if you want to put them together and figure out how long they both take, the fast one and the lazy one, if they work together. Now the formula says, well, it doesn't matter how many people you have. The formula is 1 over the time for the person 1. You add 1 over time for the second person. And then if you have 100 people, you do the same thing. 1 over the next person's time, then plus 1 over the next person's time. So you add the time for every person as a fraction 1 over, and then the whole result is 1 over if all of them work together. Okay? So in our case, we have only 2 people, Bob and Al. Bob takes 12 hours, Al takes 9 hours. So it's 1 over 9 plus 1 over 12. And we are looking for how long it will take if they work together. So we have no idea how long it will take if they work together. So in math, when you don't know something, what do you use? X. Anytime you don't know anything, it's always X. So here we're going to get together time, so it's X. Sometimes they'll give you the together time, but they will split one of their time, individual time. That means that time, whatever you don't know, will be X. So we have a nice rational equation. All you have to do is solve them. 1 over 9 plus 1 over 12 equals 1 over X. Now for this example, I'm not going to bring everything to one side because we already see X is on one side. So when X is on one side, don't bring everything to one side. In the previous examples, if you observe, we had X on both sides. The first example, we had X on both sides. The second example, they already have everything to one side. The third example, X on both sides. So when you have X on both sides, don't bring everything to one side when you have them both places. But when you have only X on one side, keep it. Don't mix them with the other side. So on the other side, you have simple numbers, no variables. So look for GCF. So not GCF, LCD. What's the LCD between 9 and 12? Can you divide 12 by 9? So you're looking for one number. That number you can divide by 9, and also you can divide by 12 evenly. 36. Is 36 the smallest number? Can you think of anything smaller than 36? I said you can divide by 9. Probably not, right? If you're not sure, look for their multiples. 9 has timetable 9 times 1, 9, then 18, then 27, then 36. 12 has the timetable 12 times 1, 12, 12 times 2, 24, 12 times 3, 36. What is the smallest number you see in both multiples? So yes, Miley is correct. ILCD is 36, the smallest number. So we want 36 under both denominator. How can you make 9 into 36? By 4. So multiply top and bottom by 4. What do you multiply 12 by to get 36? 3. And now you're happy. The first denominator is 36, second denominator is also 36. So it's time to combine our numerators. What do you want the first numerator? 4. What do you want the second numerator? 3. And when you add 4 and 3, we get 7 over 36, 1 over X. And now, to make our life easier, we don't have to do any math. We have X on the denominator, but we want X on the numerator, right? This is what we want. So just flip them. Flip this side. Since you're flipping one side, That means you also have to flip the other side. So this becomes x over 1. And when you flip the left side, what do you get? 36 over 7. X over 1 means simple x. The 1 is invisible. So answer is 36 over 7. And if you want, you can convert it into decimal, or if you don't know how to divide, you can keep it. But let me convert to see actually how long it takes if they work together. 36 divided by 7. 7 goes to 36 how many times? 5. 5 times 7 is 35. You subtract, get 1. So it should be a decimal. We put a 0 here and turns into a decimal on the numerator. So on the quotient. 7 goes to 10 how many times? 1. We subtract, we get 3. So it's approximately 5.1 hours. Which is not bad, right? One takes 12 hours, another takes 9 hours. If you put them together, suddenly it takes only 5 hours. Cool, right? That's why doing the homework alone is not a good idea. It doesn't matter you are faster one or the lazy one. If you work with another person, your homework time will be less if you don't talk, if you don't chit chat. Okay? Without chit chatting, if you just work and you work together for your homework with someone else, you can finish them faster than if you work alone. Okay? Question, comments, anything? You will have at least one of these in the final. Okay, try the next one with your neighbors. It will save time. Let me also, give me 1 second. Let me also put this together. Can I change my slide from left to the right? Are you guys done with the left slide? Okay, then you have 2 questions to do. And then we have only 1 more question. Cannot divide 4 by 18. You cannot divide 18 by 4. 18 is not divisible by 4. So 18 cannot be erased. You want one number. I know, but you're looking at 9, 4. Not only 9 and 6. 1, 6, and 4. So I tell you, see what the smallest of all the components we can not see. 1 for 3, 4 hours, so 1 over 4. Another together they can be 2 good, and then you're looking for single line perfect. The second one, and then you get this second one for perfect. Also it is 4, 6, 2, and so on, 4. Yeah, I forgot to do that. That is one of one. How many times actually, after the past, you always 1 and 10 now. 7 is equal to 10. The next one is 7 is equal to 10. If you want to put another 0, you do that. Right? But here I started with 190 10 times, right? That is close to 8 sometimes. Yes. See what is 19 times 8? That's not even actually. Yeah, actually, it's 8. Yeah, it is. Amongst the ones, yeah. Oh, yeah. Two. And the second, yeah. Oh, oh, okay. Nine times one is nine. Nine plus seven is 171. Focus for 1.48. Most of the world. So, G is 56 or 5, and then you're solving for x, right? You're probably increasing it now. When you fluid one side fast to the results. Yeah. Yes. So in this sphere, if you do something to one side, you match the same thing to the other side. Yeah. So flip here and you must be done. Look at the next one. How many? Move it up and find. No, that's not so. If you combine this, and then this you do it for the one side. Why don't we have it target? So, what is the picture? How do you improve? I do. So, how do you bring goals to actually try? So, first thing, okay, let's do together. And then we're going to do our last question for this section. So homework has many questions. Try doing them with tutors. And if you don't see any tutor, use AI like ChatGPT, Cloud, Gemini. Ask them how to solve them. And then ask each one of them, not only one thing, okay? Don't use only ChatGPT or don't use only Gemini, okay? Use as many AI as possible. Ask them the same question. If you see they give you the same answer with the same type of solution, that means it's correct. And if you don't understand any step, ask them, why did you do that? And they'll tell you, oh, sorry, maybe this happened, that happened, and they will explain it to you. So use AI as a tutor if you don't see any physical tutor, okay? If you don't have any in-person tutor, no problem. You have AI, but don't trust only one of them. Use as many as you can, and all of them are free. ChatGPT is free, Gemini is free, Cloud, CLAUDE, something like that. Cloud is also free. All you need is log in it in Gmail or something. Okay. Okay, first one. We have 3 persons. Devi needs 9 hours. Jessica needs 6 hours. Sel needs 4 hours. So we have 3 different people, needs 3 different time. What if we put them together, how long it takes? So 1 hour Devi, which is 9 hours, 1 hour Jessica, which is 6 hours, and 1 hour Sel, which is 2 hours. Sorry, 4 hours. Do we know how long it takes if they work together? So it's 1 over x. And then you look for LCD. If you don't see the LCD, write down their multiplication, their timetable. And whenever you see the smallest number, you see the same number on all three, that's the LCD. For example, 9. The timetable for 9 is 9 times 1, 9, 9 times 2, 18, 9 times 3, 27, 9 times 3, 36. Timetable for 6 is 6 times 1, 6, 6 times 2, 12, 18, 24, 36. And then if you keep going on for 4, 8, 12, you see 36 is the smallest number. I shouldn't do that. 36 is the smallest number you have in all three timetables. That means your LCD is 36. So we want to have 36 under all denominators. And we keep our 1 over x because there is only one x and it's already single in one side. So don't bring everything to one side. We need to multiply 9 by what to get 36? 4. So we do 4 and 4. Multiply 6 by what to get 36? 6 and 6. Multiply 4 by what to get 36? 9. That means we have 36 on all denominators. We have P and it combine all the numerators. 4 plus 6 plus 9, that gives us 19 over 36. We have only one problem now. X is on the denominator. We don't want that. So we flip, but math is fair. If you flip one side of the equal sign, you must flip the other side of the equal sign. And that's how we get x equals 36 over 19. Which is approximately how much? 1.8 or something, right? You don't need the decimal unless you see the decimal in the multiple choice. If the multiple choice is a fraction, you're done. But if the multiple choice is decimal, that means you have to divide to see the decimal. Okay, the next one. It says one custodian needs 4 hours. So 1 over 4. When the second customer joins, it takes together. So where do we put these two? On the left side or on the right side? The right side. Because this time we do know how long it takes if they work together. Now they're asking how long it takes if the second person works alone. So what we don't know? Time for the second person. So this time our x is on the left side. And the together work, we already know. So 1 over 2 instead of 1 over x. Now, first thing you can do is we want x to be alone. So keep your 1 over x alone and subtract this one so that you get numbers alone in one side and the variable alone in one side. So you subtract 1 over 4 from both sides. You don't have to do that, but if you do that, then you have your x alone and numbers alone. So 1 over x is 1 over 2 minus 1 over 4. What's the LCD between 2 and 4? Is a factor, common factor. We are looking for LCD, bigger number. 4. Remember, LCD must be always big. That number you can divide by 2 and divide by 4. So between 3 and 4, 4 is a multiples of 2. So 4 must be the LCD. If you have two denominators and one of them is a multiples of the other one, the multiple one is a denominator. So what do we want to multiply the 2 by to become 4? So multiply top and bottom. Do you have to multiply the second denominator by anything? One is invisible, you don't have to do that. Yes, you can, but you don't have to. So we have this on the top. So 2, actually, let me do it here. 1 over x is 2 minus 1. So 1 over x is 1 over 4. What is x then? 4. So you flip both sides and you get x equals 4. The second custodian is 4 hours. The first customer, really? They both need the same time. The first one is 4 hours, second one also need 4 hours. But if you put them together, it suddenly becomes 2 hours. So you say 2 hours. Oh, not bad. Question? So in the final exam, they give one of these, or they give one of these. The scenario here is this. You are traveling on a boat. So you're going somewhere on a boat. Now, if you travel with the current, so current is moving this way, and you are also moving this way. So if you go with the current, you cross 48 miles in 4 hours. However, when you reach your destination and you want to come back, so this time you are moving this way because you are coming back, and your current is moving on the other direction. So current is going in one direction, but your boat is moving in the other direction. So they are going against one another. When you go against one another, you cross the same distance, but this time, since you're going against the current, so it takes longer. It takes 6 hours. When you go with the flow, your journey becomes smooth, and it takes only 4 hours to cross 48 miles. But in your return trip, you're going against the current, so it takes longer. It takes 6 hours to cross the same 48 miles. Now they're asking, what's the speed of the current? So how fast the current is moving? Did you understand the scenario? Okay. So to solve this, since we are talking about speed, that means we need the speed formula. Speed is distance over time. See, what is the speed of your car? How do you know? How do you figure that out? You look at how much distance you crossed in how many hours. So that's your speed. So we start with assigning variable. Let's say B is the speed of your boat and C is the speed of the current. So if B is the speed of the boat and C is the speed of the current, how can you write an equation for this scenario? You're going with the current. So what equation you can write for that? Speed of your boat and speed of your current. How do you connect them? Or how can you write one equation by connecting them? Any idea? plus speed of the boat plus speed of the current, because you are going together, it takes 48 miles in 4 hours. So first equation is speed of the boat plus speed of the current. You are crossing 24 miles in 4 hours. So this is speed. Speed of the boat plus speed of the current. So in it's SC. Speed of the boat plus speed of the current is 48 miles per hour, which is what? 40 divided by 4. What do you have? 12. 12. 4 goes to 24 how many times? 4 goes to 24 how many times? 6 times. So this is 6 miles per hour. So when you are going with the current, your speed is 6 miles per hour. Now, since I gave you the scenario for this one, what could be the equation for that return trip? How your speed and the current speed are connected here. So you are moving in one direction, the current is moving in the other direction. How can you represent that? Subtraction. Your speed means your boat speed minus the speed of the current. And this time you're taking 24 miles in how many hours? 6 hours. So what's the speed this time? 6 goes to 24 how many times? Wait, my bad. I did something wrong. Oh, no, I did right. 4. 4 miles per hour. Oh, not 24. How did you get 24? It's 48. That's why like it sounds weird. 48 miles. So 4 goes to 48, 12. And 6 goes to 48 8 times. So speed of the boat, and when they're going against one another, it's 8 miles per hour. So your speed is lower. That's why it takes longer time to return to your home. Now we have 2 equations. So we are going to do solving system of equations. So let me write them down. B plus C is 12. B minus C is 8. How do you solve system of equations? Remember, we have 3 methods: graphing, substitution, elimination. Which one do you think is easier here? Substitution? Do you remember elimination? In elimination, what do you do? It's called elimination. Why? Because what we are going to do? Eliminate, right? Eliminate one variable. So can you eliminate one variable here if you add them? If you add the 2 equations, what happens? The plus C minus C get eliminated. That's why this is called elimination or addition. It's called addition because they're going to add them. It's also called elimination because when you add, one thing get eliminated. So we get 2 both equals 12 plus 8. What is 12 plus 8? 20. To get the B alone, we divide by 2. So what's the speed of the boat? 10 miles per hour. But they're not asking for speed of the boat. They're asking for speed of the current. So we have B plus C is 12. It's subtract B. So C is 12 minus B. which is 12 minus 10, 2 miles per hour. And this is what they're looking for. What is the speed of the current? And also in class exam, I'm going to give two questions. One is the speed and one is the working together. And you'll have at least one in the final exam, either this or that. And with this, we are done with section 7.6. 7.6 or 7.7 or 7.6. So for next Tuesday, if homework is 7.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If 6 homeworks due, 7.1 and 2 we did before, but if you did not complete them, make sure you do them. You do complete them this time. So 6 homework and all of their quizzes due next Tuesday. Whether I change the date on my MATLAB or not, it doesn't matter. You still have to do your homework on next Tuesday, okay? 6 homework and quizzes. 6 homework plus quizzes on the 6th section. I don't know how many quizzes. Any question, comments? Anything? Nothing? Today's Friday, right? So see you all on Tuesday. If you don't drop. Go ahead, no problem.